That was a great interview, Sid.
Cool. It sucks though. What's going on in Flint is that like 6 years later, dog. Like it's so easy for the government just to come in. To me, now call me wrong. To me, it would seem like the government would have the ability to just give everybody what they needed because it was the government that messed up the pipes with the leaching into the water. And that like Jasmine said, like, why don't you replace all the pipes inside and outside? And also, what about the appliances in the house that use water?
Right. And clearly, as we all know, that there is money to do that. You know, everybody got their checks for the whole COVID situation, and this happened all these many years ago. Why couldn't Flint get their just due?
Anytime somebody tells me like we can't afford that, America is the richest country on earth. So we can find the resources for anything that we place of importance. If it's important to us, we can find the resources for it. But I think far too often, part of the issue is that we don't have enough of us sitting at those tables. So when it's time for us to get what we need and what our community needs, it ain't enough of speaking up and saying what we need. But we do have our second guest, also from Flint. He's been making a habit of doing this too. He comes from, FAMU. So our HBCU, we got some representation from there. I know you, what do you use, Savannah State?
Yeah, Savannah State all day, dog. Yeah.
Okay. So we got some HBCU representation from him. He's also a native of Flint, just like Jasmine, and he also worked in local government here before becoming a serial entrepreneur. Would like to welcome to the show Jonathan Quarles. How's it going, bro?
All right, I'm well. How y'all doing?
Hey, good, brother, I'm doing good, man. You been all right?
I'm well, man. It's Friday, so I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Hey, man, well, great to have you on the show. Let's talk about you have a book out called "Making Dollars While Making Change." Talk about the book and what is it all about, Jonathan?
Yeah, so the book is something that I'm really excited about. I've always grown up in Flint, and I never considered myself a strong writer. At least that's what teachers used to tell me. But the book actually is half memoir and a half playbook for figuring out how to enter the intersection between business and social impact. So I'm talking about some lessons that I learned. I had an opportunity to work in corporate America for a while in the senior management level, had opportunity to work at the most senior level in government, municipality government, actually. And then I also had opportunity to work in the philanthropy. And I've always been an entrepreneur. I mean, when I was 8, I started my first business. I had a paper route. And so from then I had over 10 businesses, sold some businesses, invested in other companies. So I think the book kind of talks about all of the different experiences that I had and where we need to be going from here. So it's a playbook for game changers.
So part of what we were talking about kind of relates to how you got your start for your latest venture, Quartz Water Source.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about how the Flint water crisis birthed an idea from your entrepreneurial spirit into something that's going to help the community.
Yes, I mean, I was inspired by just the Flint water crisis. I mean, I'm from Flint. My family, my parents still live in Flint. My relatives still live. So I actually know people that have died, people that are suffering from learning disability because of the water crisis. And so I couldn't just sit back and just let that happen and, provide Band-Aids. At the time where people were providing bottled water, which was really good and which was needed because people were bathing in water at the time. I realized that there's something more that I have to do. And I wanted to be able to provide a long-term sustainable solution. And so in 2015, I had an opportunity to travel to Israel. And I got a chance to meet a company there called WaterGen. And WaterGen actually is one of the pioneers of atmospheric water generation. So they make water out of air. And so I was really amazed by the technology and had an opportunity to talk to the CEO there. And I said, well, I want to figure out how we can do something like that in Flint, because in Flint is just actually one stage. And what I realized is that after we started doing research and development, we realized that Flint is not alone. I mean, we have New Jersey, South Carolina, Mississippi, and other states that are suffering from this water crisis, whether it's through lead poisoning, whether it's through water shutoffs, whether it's through contamination within the water system. And the good thing about this particular technology is that it's a scalable solution. So we can produce up to 5,000 liters of water from the air, right? So we don't touch pipes. We don't even compete with municipalities. We more so complement the municipalities, and we service as almost like water insurance. So for municipalities, prison systems, hospitals, where they're looking for clean drinking water that is consistently clean and is scalable, we are able to provide them with that technology. And we want to do that all over the world.
I meant to download the video. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen, how the technology was able to literally get people clean drinking water by harvesting, I guess that's the best word, harvesting moisture that's already in the air and turning it into a drinkable solution. So that's
exactly.
That's a nerd sometimes, but like we just got so excited. I'm like, that's cool stuff. And then to have that actually sitting inside the city of Flint, that's a cool thing. So you have some of those plants inside the city, right?
Correct. Yeah. So currently in Flint, but we're doing this all over the United States and the Caribbean island, and even all over the world. But right now we're focused. Our Quartz Water Source is actually focused specifically on North America. We got to get our house right first before we go out into other communities. But I'm very focused and committed to. We're a triple bottom line company, so not only are we making sure that we give back, so a portion of everything we make goes back to water related projects, but we also make sure that we're employing people that look like us. And so I am very much so focused on Black and brown communities that are always neglected. Whenever there's a water crisis right now, especially during COVID, water is the most important thing. And it's going to be the most important thing in the next 10 to 15 years. That's going to be the most important thing, because the access to clean drinking water in even big cities like Chicago, LA, New York, that's going to be a problem. And so we want to make sure we get ahead of that and make sure that our people have access to clean drinking water. So,
wow, that's awesome. That's awesome, Jonathan. Man, you know what?
You call me JQ. You can call me JQ. No one calls me Jonathan.
My bad, JQ. Go ahead, Seth.
Maybe talk a little bit about the importance of being able to use your creativity for your entrepreneurial spirit and why that's important, especially for Black people.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I grew up in Flint, Michigan, and I grew up in the heart of the city, not like the suburbs. And so, you know, y'all brothers, I mean, I think y'all from Detroit, I'm assuming, but I know y'all live in Detroit area.
Well, I lived in Flint for
oh, really? Okay.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. It was Davidson. So let me take that back.
Yeah.
Flint. It was Davidson.
But you understand what I mean? Like when you say you're from Flint, there's people that say I'm from Flint, but they're actually from Davidson and Flushing and things like that. Right. But I'm from Flint. I'm from the intercity of Flint. And so, you know, we take pride in that, and I wear that on my shoulders. I mean, that's why this shirt I'm wearing is called Water to the People. Like we've always been fighters. People have always counted us out because we were like actually in the top 3 when I was growing up, top 3 most dangerous cities to live in. But with that being said, I've always been a problem solver. I call myself a slasher. So like when I was younger, I had teachers to tell me I was either gonna be in jail or dead because I used to do things that wasn't really safe. I was involved in a gang at the time. But the reality is I had loving parents, and fortunately I had parents that was in the church. So I had a dad that was a deacon. He still is a deacon in the church. My mom, the Sunday school teacher, she's still a Sunday school teacher. If it wasn't for my parents and my community to actually help, like put their arms around me in the midst of my rebellion, in the midst of my like youthful curiosity is what I call it, I wouldn't be here today. I mean, my best friend got murdered when I was 12. So I've seen a lot of stuff, experienced a lot of stuff, but I realized in the core of it all, like my parents always loved me, and they always realized that, you know, you're not here for yourself. There's something bigger than you. So I knew at a very young age that that my life was important, and the mission and my why, it has to be lived out. And so I think that's what kind of like motivated me to be a business owner. But particular, we come from very humble beginnings, and so I knew at a very young age that I needed the only way I can get out of poverty was through like ownership and equity. And so, like I said, I've had several businesses throughout the years. Some of them did very well. Some of them failed. But to this day, I'm currently, I think I have 4 companies now that I think about it. And, you know, I'm looking to make sure that other young people behind me understand the importance of ownership and equity collectively.
No doubt. So let me ask you, Jonathan, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs out there, people that are saying, okay, look, you know, I want to get into this business. I want to go into business for myself, but I'm a little bit nervous. What advice would you give them?
But I would say this, you know, I don't ever knock 9 to 5s. I think I think that you have to do what you need to do to take care of your family or take care of yourself. But in the midst of that, we have so much time. I think we waste a lot of time. I think time management is so important. One thing I didn't do, which I would always tell people to do, is that before you leave your 9 to 5, make sure you have something set. I always say that even in the Bible, it talks about multiple streams. Like David had multiple streams, right? He wasn't just, I mean, he was a musician. He was I had so many multiple streams. And so, I mean, you had to have at least 4 to 5 streams of income so that in the event of a COVID-19 or in the event of a recession, if you lose your job, you still have opportunities to be able to create wealth and generational wealth. And then collective economics is something that I talk about a lot in the book. And so, yeah, for the book, I want to make sure I say this. For those individuals that have not pre-ordered your book, check out jonathanquarles.com. And you can pre-order your book there. But it's literally a playbook. I talk about specifically like a roadmap of how you actually create these streams of income and how do you actually become a successful entrepreneur. But it's not enough to be an entrepreneur. It's important that we understand that social impact is just as important as business. And so what I'm hoping to do, especially in this new normal, is that it's not enough. Consumers are not just looking at businesses for what they can produce and how they can consume. They're like, what are you doing in the community? What are you doing in the world? And how are you positively effectuating change within your employees and the people that you service? And so the book talks about that intersection between business and social impact. And I think we have to, as entrepreneurs, as aspiring entrepreneurs, as change makers, everything we do is not about us. It has to live beyond us. And so the book talks about all that stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Jonathan. Well, we really appreciate your time. You taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us this afternoon. Let everybody know, how can they get in contact with you? What's your social media handles? And again, how can they get your book?
Sure. So my website, Jonathan Quarles, last name is Quarles, and it's Jonathan is spelled the way the biblical name, Jonathan. There you can reach me, as well as on Instagram, Jonathan.Quarles. But all of that stuff is on my website. You can reach me there. That's the book. And yeah, I love serving people, and whatever I can do to be helpful. You can send me a direct message on my website. I actually reply to them. I see all of them. But I mean, my thing is, I can't like leave this earth without being able to provide and being used up. And so that's what my dad always tell me. The goal is to be able to like live a life that is thoroughly used. Right. And it's not about me, it's bigger than me. And if I leave and I have no succession, or there's no one to say, oh wow, this world is like missing something, just like what Dr. King talked about, the street sweeper, then my life was in vain. So please use me. I'm here for you all.
All right, everybody. Again, this is Mr. Jonathan Quarles. Brother, again, we really appreciate you, man. You stay blessed, okay?
You too. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right.
Valuable information said. I like that right there, bro.
Yeah, it's just great to see his progression, moving from that space and moving to a space now where not only is he having his own business, but he's empowering other people. And I think that's really what it's all about.
Yes, it is.
Like, it's not like, okay, well, once I get up to get mine, well, I'm gonna try and get more of it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to pour those resources back into other people so that they can begin to get some of the things that we have gotten. And also, like, it's all about the pull up. It ain't about the drag down, and we too focused on the drag down. But it's always, whenever you get up to a level, I've always been told, you got to pull somebody else up. You got to pull somebody else up. And what I really admire about him is that he actually gave back to his own community. Absolutely. Like his hometown where he actually grew up, Flint, Michigan, and did good for them. So kudos to Jonathan for what he's doing, man. That he's an awesome brother, man. That's what it's all about. We all can do a little something. Mm-hmm. We all can find out what can we do to make something a little bit better. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Leave your comments. Let us know what you're thinking about with the Everybody Mad podcast.